Well, until that rain from Hurricane Dennis, it had been a very dry summer.
So let's find out if it was enough to help drought conditions from meteorologist Mark Avery. He has tonight's first forecast.
Well, the rain was helpful, although it would have been a lot better if the rain had been spread out over about a week or so, because when you get about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches, as there were in some places like Southport, all at one time, it kind of runs off and doesn't do very much good. If you spread that out over a week, much better. Get about half an inch or an inch or so at a time. Much better. Dennis is still, by the way, sitting out over the outer banks. Not sitting over the outer banks, but part of it is. The center of Dennis is still sitting 125 miles east of Cape Hatteras right now. And because of that, we're going to get a few clouds. You can see the clouds starting to scoot down towards our area here in the last few frames there. And because Dennis has shown a slight westward motion today, the Hurricane Center has put up a hurricane watch from Cape Lookout to Chincoteague, Virginia. Does not include any of our coast. That's the good part. Tropical storm warnings too, because the winds are still gusting up there. Here's the latest on Dennis: 35.1 north, 73.3 west, drifting east. We'll take a look at where Dennis is going and a look at the weekend ahead coming up in a few minutes. Fran Murphy.
Can't imagine paying $4 million for one.
Yeah, and how do you define character on a coin? Well, that's where the money comes in.
I guess.
$500 for a penny?
Mm-hmm.
Whew, man.
Oh, man, that's right.
That's a lot. Talking about got a lot of weather to talk about. Dennis is still hanging out off the coast of Cape Hatteras. We'll check out where he's going next and what it means for us coming up next. A couple of things to talk about, all dealing with Dennis, both dealing with Dennis actually. First of all, short term, a lot of the clouds from Dennis, or some of the higher clouds from Dennis, are scooting into the area right now, and that will bring us an increase in clouds in the evening hours right now. Second of all, dealing with the intensity and the forecast for Dennis, Dennis is still a hurricane out there, barely, in the realm of tropical storm winds extend about 200 miles out from the center of Dennis right now, and the hurricane force winds are about 100 miles, but they're really spread out, and part of that is because it's being sheared apart quite a bit by a trough of, the trough is scooted off. The ridge of high pressure to the north and a ridge of high pressure in the upper parts of the atmosphere, they're blowing the clouds off the top. And you can see that from all these higher clouds blowing out way out here and not much going on down here to the south. It is actually getting some cooler and drier air sucked into the storm, and that's, go outside and you'll notice that cooler and drier air as we've cooled off quite a bit since Dennis moved through, as the trough is scooted off way off to the east. Now, part of the thing with Dennis now is that it's showing a very weak and very slow progress to the west, and because of that, the Hurricane Center has put a hurricane watch from Cape Lookout northward to Chincoteague, Virginia, and a tropical storm warning that's been in effect all day from the same locations. Does not include any of our coast. That's the good news, but we'll have to keep an eye on Dennis because he's still hanging out there. So your forecast for the evening hours, increasing clouds thanks to some of the higher clouds from Dennis through the evening hours. Temperatures getting into the upper 60s by 11 o'clock with a north to northwest wind. Skywatch Neighborhood Network from Alltel takes us to the Blockade Runner, 75 degrees there, and a northeast wind about 12 miles per hour. So not bad out there. Checking Skywatcher. We go to Fayetteville, and the Lopez is checking in with 77 and no rainfall today. Officially at the airport up to 81, down to 64 this morning, and a trace of rain. As of right now, temperatures in the low to mid 70s and a couple upper 70s out there. 81 in Columbia is the warm spot. As of 5 o'clock, here's the coordinates on Dennis: 35.1 north, 73.3 west. That's 125 miles east of Hatteras, drifting to the east about 3 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds at 75, which makes Dennis a minimal hurricane. The hurricane hunters, by the way, are going to go out and check this out this evening and make sure it is still a hurricane, although I'm kind of, personally, I think it's maybe more towards a tropical storm range instead of hurricane range. We'll probably bump it down to about 70 at 11 o'clock tonight. This high-pressure center over New England is helping to impede the progress of Dennis, keeping it from heading towards the north, and actually that is helping to make it drift a bit towards the west. The showers are moving in onshore just to the north of us and into Virginia and parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, where they've been so dry. Now, here's the official forecast. Still a hurricane, although very minimal, drifting south and westward because the high is forecast to push it just a bit to the south. So as the high goes, so goes Dennis. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it as a minimal hurricane, maybe a tropical storm too, over the next few days. So Dennis isn't done with us yet, so we'll keep an eye on it for the next few days, just in case it does get close to us again, and if anything happens again, we'll let you know. There you go. Here's your Skywatch weather for tonight. 65, a few showers moving into the area. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, off and on showers, 80 for the high, north to northwest winds. Along the coast, small craft advisories up, northwest winds 15 to 20 knot, seas 3 feet near shore and 7 feet farther off. Our next tide is a high one at 11:30, low tide at 4:45, sunsets at 7:39, comes up at 6:45. Here's your 6-day forecast. Temperatures in the mid-80s to upper 80s. All dependent on where Dennis goes. If Dennis gets out of here, scoots for if something meteorologically happens that I completely missed and is not on any model, any map, any satellite image that I see, it's going to be sunny and 90 tomorrow. But I don't see that happening. Dennis is certainly something to keep an eye on still. I'm almost regretting I ate my bag of chips last night when I was up for 2 hours after my long sleeping.
All right. Thanks, Mark.